Wow, it's hard to believe that it's been 6 months since the reveal of my Jackson Big Rig FD, and over the 6 months, I've had quite a bit of seat time. In fact, I was supposed to get a little seat time today, but the weather outside is frightful. So we're bringing the conversation into the bar over a hot cup of coffee, which may or may not be of the Irish variety. This is a 6 month review of the Kayak. What do I like? What do I not like? Who's it for? Who's it not for? And if I had it all to do over again, would I buy the same rig? So I've really only got one kayak to compare my big rig to, which is my Old Town Sportsman 106 PDL that I had for 2.5 to 3 years. And so that's the only one that I have to compare it by as far as my personal use goes. And what I can tell you is that as far as I'm concerned, the Old Town Sportsman series, the 106 or the 120, are two of the best platforms on the market for pedal drives. They are phenomenal kayaks, but the one thing that I did experience a lot with my 106 was that I was constantly trying to rearrange it or modify it to fit my needs because it just didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, which caused me to go looking to see what else was available in the first place. And that's how we came to the Big Rig FD. It seemed to check every box for me on paper. I bought this off of the Eco Fishing website, had never been in one before, so I did as much research as I possibly could. Maybe you're doing the same thing from watching this video. All right, so let's go through a few categories of the kayak, and then I'm going to give you my rating overall for the Big Rig FD. So let's talk first about its stability. Let's get that one out of the way because that's one of the first things that everyone asks about. It is off the chart stable. Now look, my Old Town 106 was a stable kayak as well. It was a very stable platform. It is nothing compared to the Big Rig. I stand up now on the Big Rig 3 or 4 times on each trip, whether it's just to stretch my legs, perhaps I didn't clear a limb I thought I was going to get past, or maybe to expel my morning cup of coffee, whatever it might be. I stand 3 or 4 times without hesitation at all. The Old Town, I tried to avoid that. I would have to stand on occasion to get something out of a tree or whatever, but I tried to avoid standing. Not that it was tippy, not that it was an unstable kayak, but it moved enough that I didn't feel comfortable being a non-swimmer. Big Rig, I feel plenty comfortable. I don't even hesitate to stand up in this thing. That doesn't mean I'm not careful, but it just means that it feels so solid underneath me that any hesitation is just kind of gone. So stability, this thing gets a 5 out of 5. How about comfort? Well, I can refer back to the Old Town again. I thought the Old Town was a comfortable kayak, but I did start using a seat cushion because after a few hours on the water, I would start to get a little sore in the quad area, and I don't know if it was a pinch point on the seat or what it was, and so the seat cushion helped with that and alleviate that. So when I made the switch to the Big Rig, I just kept using that same cushion. And then a few trips ago, I thought, well, you know what? You never even tried this thing without the cushion. Maybe you don't need it. And so I stopped using the cushion, and lo and behold, I don't need it. The Comfort Seat 4.0 is the model of seat that my Big Rig has, and I don't need the seat cushion. It is an extremely comfortable kayak, and I only sit in the high position as well, which I find to be great, kind of an angle for the pedals on there. And the other thing I like about that is sitting up. You don't feel any sort of constraints around here, which adds to your comfort. You don't feel like you're maybe kind of squeezed in a little bit. There's none of that going on. The kayak is extremely comfortable. So given the fact that I've got nothing to compare it to other than a lazy boy, I'll give it 4 3/4 stars. I'll refrain from the 5 just to, because maybe there's something out there. Maybe the 5.0 seat is a little bit more comfortable. I don't know. The Mark IV pedal drive, let's talk about that. The ability to lower and raise that prop has come in so handy for me a few times, especially when I've got to go up into some stumps and everything to get perhaps a hung lure out or whatever. I just pop that thing up, kind of pull myself up there with whatever I'm hung on. I give it a nice tug and let the kayak just kind of drift up in there, and I don't have to worry about hitting the prop when I'm coming in or backing out. You know, going in, it's got that, it's going to kick up itself if you hit something. But I go ahead and do it myself so that it's up in case I hit something on the way back out. I don't damage the prop or anything. And so that is fantastic. It's just a push and pull of a lever. and you can raise and lower it. So let's talk about speed, and I'm going to refer to speed from a pedal drive. It's a quick kayak. It's actually quicker than my 106 PDL. I don't know how they did it. How do you get a boat this wide, this long, to go that fast? Now, let me put a number on it for you. So if I'm just kind of pedaling along in fairly calm water or whatever, I'm getting in the like 3.5 mile an hour range. It dips down a little bit, raises up a little bit depending on the type of water that I'm in or how much energy I have that day. But it is plenty quick. If I really want to get after it a little bit, I can go up over 4 miles an hour, but I can't sustain that for very long. So if I have to rate it for speed, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't have anything else to compare it to other than the Old Town. And knowing that it's not built for speed, I was pleasantly surprised by what I was getting out of it. So I think that's worth 4.5 in my book, y'all. Space. Well, if you get a 13-foot plus kayak and a 40-inch wide kayak, you are expecting space, and there is space for days on the big rig. Especially, I removed one of the track rails from the back that goes across the kayak, which really opened up the tank well, and I can get more stuff behind me so I don't have as much in front of me, which really opens up the space. I don't utilize under the seat for anything. I don't really utilize much at all in front of me for anything other than a depth finder, and of course the pedal unit sits there. So if I'm going to score it on space, I'm going to score it a 4.5 out of 5. So how about rigability? In other words, the ability to customize the kayak. Well, it's got a lot of track on it, a lot of gear track. You've got long gear tracks on your side, and they're aluminum. You've even got a short piece of aluminum gear track on top of the Mark IV pedal drive. You've got a gear track that goes across the back, behind the seat, sideways across the kayak. And then you've got 2 more gear tracks along the tank well. Not to mention, you've also got gear tracks right here beside the seat that you can use for things. So it's got plenty of gear track, plenty of ability to accessorize and customize this kayak to your liking. So rigability, I'll give this thing a 4 out of 5. There aren't as many pass-throughs for the hull. There's got the one coming out by the pedal drive that's going to be for your depth finder. Outside of that, there's not a lot of like built-in pass-throughs or cover plates or anything. Now, the majority of those are meant for motor wiring, whether it be a bow or whether it be stern or whether it be both. I'm going to say that most people who are looking at the Big Rig FD are not looking at it for its motorization capabilities, although you can put one on the stern. So I don't know how important those pass-through plates are. For me, they're not important at all. But I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I know it is to some folks. Now, is there anything I don't like about the Big Rig? There's absolutely nothing to say, well, I don't like this, right? Are there some things that I wish were a little bit better? Yes. Let's talk about one. It's going to be the in-hull storage under the front hatch. It's not an issue unless you try to use the tray. If you try to use the tray that comes with it, when you're on the water and you try to open the hatch and you need to get in the hull, removing that tray out is a little bit of a hassle. It's like, well, where do I sit it? Where do I put it while I'm trying to get into the hull to get whatever I need in the hull? So I have experimented with it in, I've experimented with it out, and ultimately I decided to stop storing a couple things that I was inside the hull, store them inside of my crate so I can use that shallow tray for some quick access things that I might need. So if I had to pick at something, it would be accessing the in-hull storage if you're using the tray that comes with the kayak. Another pick that I'll have with it is its turning radius. I wish it had like an aluminum rudder, just something a little bit beefier that would give it a little more cut in the water than what is currently there. It's not a big deal. One of the things that I like about the Big Rig is just how accessible the paddle is. It's kind of up top. So if I need to make some sharp maneuvers or whatever in a tight space, I'll do that with a paddle. I wish it had a little bit more agility, but again, 13 some feet and 40 inches wide. Look, I know the Tight Necks has some pretty incredible turning radius on it, so I can't say that it's not possible, because it is. But if I had to pick, that's another thing I would pick at with the Big Rig. The stick steering took me a minute to get used to, but I've adapted now. Every now and then I'll forget I'll forget which way I'm going, but it's no big deal. I actually like, because I have found myself at various times using one hand or the other depending on what situation I'm in or what I'm doing. So I like having that on both sides. But you know, coming from a knob on my old town, it did take me a minute to get used to the kind of the stick steering on this. But now that I'm used to it, I don't give it a second thought really. So those are the only kind of couple of cons that I can think of, and I don't even know that you would classify either one of those as a con. Some of you may see it's the fact that it's not necessarily motor ready as a con, but if you're of that mindset, you're probably not looking at the big rig anyway. I've got a little motor, and I thought about getting a small battery to put under the seat and experimenting with a motor on there. I don't know if I'll do it or not because, to be honest with you, I find motorization just to kind of be a hassle. I love the simplicity of the manual power, so I don't know if I'll fool with that or not. I tried that on my old town and found out it was more hassle than it was worth. All right, so who is the big rig for and who is it not for? Well, let's start with the not for. It's probably not for the people who want 4 motors and live scope, right? So it's probably not for those guys, which I doubt they're looking at the big rig anyway. For everyone else, you'll hear the big rig all the time. They'll say, oh, it's a big guy kayak. Well, I'm 5'11", 160. I'm not a big guy by any stretch of the imagination, and it's for me too. So if it's stable and comfortable for a big guy, well, then it's going to be even more so for a smaller guy. It's kind of like one of my cats laying in the king size bed right in the middle, just kind of laid out like, I own the world. Well, that's how you feel if you're a smaller guy anyway on the Jackson big rig. So what would I rate the big rig overall? I'm going to give it a 4.5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 is because I'm trying to take maybe some of y'all's needs and wants and everything into consideration, and not tell you that it's absolutely perfect for you. It is absolutely perfect for me. Judging it from myself, it's a 5 out of 5. I can't imagine getting anything better. I am absolutely in love with the kayak. I want to be in it 7 days a week if I could. So I think you can pretty much guess I would buy this kayak every day of the week and twice on Sunday. There isn't one made. I still like to watch videos when people make new ones. I watched a video from Andrew Blair. Check out his channel. Really straight up guy that gives honest reviews. He just did one on the new Native Hammer. And he properly assessed it. And no matter what I watch, I don't care if it's the XTR, the Hammer, or you know the Sportsman Pro from Old Town or whatever, I see nothing that I believe can hold the candle to the big rig or even the NAR. I would take either one of those two over anything else that's out there. You know, guys, so I do these reviews not to just post content, right? I do them because when I started this channel, it was out of frustration when I would go to watch other people's quote unquote reviews of things when I'm researching my own stuff. A lot of times what they would call a review is just a walkthrough. When they would do a review, you could tell that they were somehow connected to the brand that they were reviewing, whether that they was given this stuff and they had affiliate links, or whether or not they were part of the pro staff, whatever it might be. And so you never really knew if you were getting the scoop. I'm not affiliated. I do not do paid promotions. I have not, and I will not, because I understand the frustration that comes from trying to get unbiased information. So that's why I do these things, to share with you guys. I know this time of year, a lot of you to the north are kind of in for the season. Maybe you're watching these kind of videos. Maybe you're thinking about what you want to do different for next season. And maybe that involves a different sort of fishing vessel. So I just want to try to help out in any way that is possible. If you appreciate it, and if you enjoyed it, do me a favor and show that by hitting that thumbs up, that like button. Leave me a comment and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hey, look, I've got something pretty cool coming up at the first of the year that I think you're going to want to see. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm throwing this little teaser out there now. Go ahead and subscribe so you can see. I'm going to try to post that on January 1st exactly. And then share this video if you're so inclined. Hey, if you want to see the on the water review that I did, check out this video right here. This will show you a little bit more in depth if you want some more information other than what you got from this video here. Thank you guys very much. And hey, look, no matter what you've got going on in your life, I hope you will always take time to get outside and play.